Hello everyone. So for my reading log for this week, I did the book Good Night Owl, and it's a super cute book. It is by author and illustrator Greg Pizzoli, and it is published by Disney in 2016. Has about 37 pages. It's definitely a children's picture book, and the appropriate ages would be about 3 to 6 because of the words that it uses, and just not very many words, a lot of illustrations. So in this story, of Good Night Owl, we have an owl who is getting ready for bed, who is nice and cozy in bed, when all of a sudden he hears a squeak. And he's not sure that's a squeak, he's not sure what it's coming about, but he thinks that something is making a noise, and at first he thinks it's someone at the door. And so he gets up to go check what's at the door. But there's nothing at the door. And through the illustrations, you can see the little mouse that made the noise is right there, but he does not know it's a mouse. And so he's looking around for this noise, where it's coming from, has no idea what it is. He continues to hear it, and at one point he gets so frustrated. He destroys his room looking for this sound, and he thinks it's coming from the walls, which is not a good sign. He loses patience beyond belief when this. So he tears down his whole entire walls and his roof because he thinks it's coming from there. So he has nothing more in his house. So all of a sudden, he is living outside. And he gets very, very paranoid. You can see right here, it squeaks. And he doesn't know it's a mouse, so he gets really frustrated. So the frustration goes on, and then he finally gives up after he has no roof, no walls, is sleeping outside practically in his little bed. And then the little guy went to bed, and he said, "Good night, Owl," and then heard the squeak, and then saw where the squeak's coming from because there was nothing around him anymore. And he saw it, and he smiled, and he said, "Good night, noise." So at the end of this book, you see the theme kind of being of this owl losing his patience, looking for something that wasn't a really big deal. He was just really frustrated the whole entire time, though, because he couldn't understand where this squeak was coming from. The illustrations do a great job of showing that you can see the mouse, but he cannot see the mouse. I related this book a lot to my favorite book growing up, Good Night Elmo. I read it all the time. So like a good nighttime story to tell your children when you have kids of your own, or one to reference to someone else. This book is good for children because it kind of shows the theme of patience, and if this owl had the patience just to problem solve instead of tearing down everything around him, then it would have been a whole entire different situation. It's also an easy read, very quick. It took me not very long to get through, and so it's a nice thing to have actions, have puppets, and do everything like that. A good activity would be to have puppets and to also make an owl and a mouse, and then maybe you could hide a mouse in the room and then have a noise like a squeak, and we have to go problem solve to find where it's at without just losing our patience very easily. This book also won the award. It won the Theodore Seuss Geisel Honor Book. It was an honor book in 2016 when it was published. So a very cool book. You can tell from the illustrations why it won its award. It was very, very cute and very, very cool. I highly recommend this book to any teacher, especially in the younger age group.